Right. Hello. I'm Amber Bird. I am a musician like the others today, but I am not set up to stream a set for you. So you won't be hearing anything from my band Varnish or from my transatlantic autistic duo, The Companions. You heard Robin, the other half of that, earlier this evening. But I'm also a writer, lyrics, sci-fi novels, and relevant to tonight, poetry. So I'm going to share just a handful of my published pieces, 5, um, all centered on themes of identity, connection, and power. Let's see. All right, so this first one is actually the first poem of mine to be published, and it was written before I had the knowledge and the labels that let me really love who I am. So tonight, this is for those of you who are still trying to get there. Moss covered. This is where I rest on breath and promise. Light filtered through old longings and spent worries. Why wake and dislodge the memories balled in my throat and the roots that wrap my ribs and pull me from earth? No myths follow me, no more than rumors or the narrow eyes of shop girls and fattened crows. My magic dissolves when my eyelids rise and leaves fall from my fingertips. I am simply mad with twigs in my curls and dirt beneath my nails. I dump pebbles from my shoes and cough out dust. My skin cracks and crawls. I pray, God, let me be a willow or something with flowers. But my tongue is too rough and my limbs too thick. Every day I roll away from water and I search my back for new growth, for proof I am more than what I see. Sometimes I am sure I feel budding in my heart, or even just someone small choosing me as home. But the wind drives out and I am grounded. I crave old miracles, chase cast out gods to cities or shopping malls, but feel my toes retract and knees draw in. Really, I am circuit traced, but dream myself a greener future. Thank you. This next poem is a little about connection and a little about power, and not the last you'll hear about fire tonight. Burning bush. By the time I reach my burning bush, it has turned to ash. God is gone and left me, flameless. I sift through for embers, for lingering God whispers. I make myself cakes of gray dust and my tears, bitter on my tongue and sandpaper in my belly. At night, my dreams are alight with scorpion smiles, dry throats, your lies, fires I would douse. Magma rivers rip my veins, take not just trees, but spinal column, barricades. God screams at me in your mouth and mine, and fingers trailing hair. Your limbs become branches, and truth is the spark that sets you blazing. I lick the torch and cinder in your revelations. All right, poem 3. It's a bit long and a bit nerdy, but I think that's normal for poems that occur to you when you're reading physics for fun and you're thinking about this character that you really like in a film, and she reads as autistic to you and she's giving this beautiful speech about her chosen family. And the poem starts the way that her speech starts. Quote, "Physics is the study of the movement of bodies in space." Let me make this. 1. Mass. Mass is the amount of matter in an object. Mass is not the same as weight, but when they tell me to be smaller, act smaller, take up less space, be lighter in body and tone, what I hear is I should matter less, and for a breath, for fear of the future they threaten for people like me, I almost consider it, almost change my shape, my density, but the gravity. 2. Distance. Distance is, everyone knows this one, knows how far apart we can get from everyone. I was born far apart, even from the arms that fed me and held me and quickly as was legal pushed me out the door, kept apart, held apart, and they told me to stay away, and most days I agree, I concede, I embrace apart. There's more room for my mass apart, less chance for their cruelty to make me fall apart. I consider permanent distance from it all, but the gravity. 3. Gravity. Gravity is attraction between particles influenced by their mass and the distance between them. So, they would have me make myself too sparse and apart, too meager and removed to attract you, but I held my matter, not my mouth, and used the force of pushing them away to be my equal and opposite force, my fuel, my accelerator, my distance destroyer, until I was close enough that all you had to bring was your own mass, your matter, your dense and attractive force, your particles and mine, pulled by natural phenomena, a consequence of the curvature of space-time and the uneven distribution of our matters, the gravity of us. 4. Scalar. A scalar is a measurement without a direction. For instance, we are going 100 miles per hour, but I don't know which way, and I don't know where, and I don't think you do either. And if we knew which direction, would it be the same for both of us? We say we want that. We streak directionless across the landscape, proclaiming our intent. We speed, and I place all hope in our gravity. 5. Vector. A vector is a measurement with a direction. For instance, my velocity is 100 miles per hour east, and yours most definitely is not. And I cannot stop because my body in motion tends to stay in motion in a straight line. Just think, me staying straight for once. No reverse, no U-turns, no U, just Doppler redshift. Blue shift, Doppler or gravitational is the past. Blue shift, if we're talking mood change, is the future. Outside our isolated gravitational field, I'm reduced like I never was in our gravity. 6. Displacement. Displacement is a vector quantity that tells you how far out of place an object is, how far and in what direction I moved. Away from you, away from who I thought I was, my overall change in position, and here is my position now. If you're moving in an equal and opposite direction, and if the earth is round, and it is as sure as the sun is a star, is a body in space, and inertia is my watchword, and if my velocity is as constant as our gravity once was, there is hope on the other side of the globe. Collision course. If we maintain matter, if we maintain we matter, we may prove that gravity is renormalizable after all. Let me clear all my words. Oh, look at all those things I didn't use. Apparently I had too much fun creating new toys, I guess for you that are here, new toys, learning how to use Twitch. So this next poem is, well, it's the only time I have ever been accused of writing something gentle. And it's for the people who believe me when I tell them who I am. Who I am. I told you I was a river, and you bathed in me, leaving me cleaner. With rocks from my bed, you lined your walls, and now I am home. I rush and tumble and speak in tongues, but you lean your ear and smile at the right parts. Someday, I may wear you down, erode the years until I've pushed you out to the sea. Until then, I feed the grasses all along my banks and encourage them to bloom. Someday, I may feed flowers. I told you I was a river, and you took the news solemnly. If you put your candles on me, I will float them safely out. All right, thank you. So, finally, let's see. This one is identity and power, and it's for the people who brought me fire, but it's also for all of you who, because you're marginalized, society has made you think that maybe you are something not so bright. So yeah, so this is for you. Let's see. Oh. Sunflowers. When I was born, they made me a moon, covered my core in fertile fields, and promised me a planet to revolve around. It wasn't what I could be, oh, but what I should be, sang the system, and desperate for the phantom of lush green joy, my own fruits choked out by toxic taproot of invasive species, of expectations and rules tied to my heavenly body, how to eat, play, love, pray, think, talk, want, be. I digged and watered and fertilized with my own blood. I grew the garden that blotted out my sun. But every night, comets, like incendiary sisters, open-tongued and brash and vine-free visioned, saw my orbit, how I stumbled by the flickers of strange torches, how the tangle of colonizing crops shut out my stellar view, and they filled their mouths with cinders and blew them to the wind, slipped coals into my soil, sparks into my ear, a strike on my soul like maybe I was made of matches, like maybe my fields were meant for solar flowers, not submissions. Like maybe I am an act of arson. I cleared my hydrogen of hills. I farmed my fallow with fusion. I kindled my memories of pre-terraformed potential. I have crafted myself a cathedral of spiring fire. In the hollow that held my grafted hopes, I burned the brush, traded false faith for flame, and painted kerosene frescoes. Pilgrims avert their eyes, approach with caution, marvel at the altar of my immolation, my self-set pyre and promised land. I dance and crackle an invitation, a phoenix path, a call to fall into new constellations, to let the planets orbit us instead, to no longer be dimmed or doused by those who fear our flares or walk away. Our wings too warm, our hearts too heated. We don't need their fuel anymore. When I was born, they made me a moon, and I grew myself a sun instead. All right, thank you. That's me. That's my set. Thank you to everyone who watched, and I think that we would all love to see you again online or at shows and readings when those become a thing again. Thank you to Christopher for arranging this and to ESS for giving us the platform. Yeah, I think that's it.